Madden 25 on PC is the best football video game ever made. I've been saying that for months now, and a lot of people didn't understand why. But today I can finally share with you all why that is and how I came to this conclusion. My name is Shady Mike, and today's video is going to be all about the various gameplay mods available for Madden 25. All the mods I get are from the Madden modding community Discord, which is linked in the description, along with a tutorial on how to install all of these mods and a link to our Madden modding showcase playlist so that you can see all the mods that we've covered so far. If you like this content, make sure you like the video and subscribe for more so that you don't miss any of our future updates. Because this video is about gameplay mods, we have to start with, arguably, the most impactful mod available, and that's simply called the gameplay mod, and it's made by a modder named Sabos. Now, a lot of people say, Shady, you make sliders for Madden 25 for our console fam, but why don't you use them yourself? I get this question a lot from a lot of people wanting me to compare Madden with sliders versus Madden with mods, or the process of making a slider set versus the process of making a gameplay mod. And I'll answer this question the same way every single time. Comparing a gameplay mod to a slider set is like comparing open heart surgery to a band-aid. With a slider set, you have, 50 or so parameters that you have to tweak? When you open the Frosty editor, there are seemingly thousands of different parameters that you can tweak. You have so much more freedom and possibility with mods, you really can't even compare the two. So, on to Sabos' gameplay mod. What does it change? I'm sure there are things that Sabos would like to point out and emphasize that his mod changes, and if you'd like to see those changes, feel free to check out his extensive patch notes, because we can't go through everything. But what I do want to do is I want to point out three main, in my opinion, life-altering changes his mod makes to the way I play Madden 25. So let's dive into it. The biggest, most noticeable gameplay change that I noticed right away was the pocket formation on passing plays. And this is not only the formation of a clean pocket, but also the O-line logic is improved from the default. Now, in my opinion, default Madden 25 made significant improvements here in this area already, but where the mod takes another step forward is the pass blocking is also improved in play action situations. The improved O-line decision making helps me feel comfortable and confident now faking a handoff without having to worry about it being a guaranteed sack. And that goes for both the user and the CPU. This is a long-standing legacy issue that, with it now being fixed, completely changes the game and opens up the playbook. Next, I want to talk about what is, in my opinion, the biggest issue with Madden 25, and honestly, maybe the biggest issue with the last 3 or 4 Maddens, and that is, regardless of difficulty or sliders, running the ball in Madden is way too easy. Regardless of team or talent of the running back or the offensive line, I can easily average 6 yards per carry, and that does not line up in any way with NFL averages. I think people sleep on how much of a crutch the run game can be for the user on default Madden. Where this issue lies is in the reaction time of defenders on run plays. Players in Madden just do not rally to the ball the way players do in the NFL. This issue is magnified on runs from the shotgun and from the read option. This behavior is heavily altered by the gameplay mod to help defenders play downhill and put bodies on runners and blockers. So if you don't have an elite running back and you don't have a serviceable O-line, you're going to be averaging 2 to 3 yards per carry, which is below the league average. The third and final most notable improvement, in my opinion, is the CPU run logic or ball carrier logic, however you want to describe it. I believe Sabo calls it the pathing, but CPU runners run with so much precision, so much power, they are extremely dangerous in the open field. They use ball carrier moves much more frequently and are much more dynamic when fighting for yards. I swear, some of the plays that the CPU made when I played against them, it was almost as if I was playing against another user. It's really a big improvement that you feel right away. So guys, that's Sabos gameplay mod. It covers a lot of great stuff, and in my opinion, with this mod, there's no better football video game experience out there. But Sabos gameplay mod isn't the only gameplay mod available. I wanted to bring you all's attention to a modder named SnowballPudi and his assortment of gameplay mods available for Madden 25. SnowballPudi has made so many mods that I can't even show them all. I'll have them scrolling throughout the screen, but the biggest takeaway and why I like his mods are, while most mods are meant to make the game harder or more realistic, some of SnowballPudi's mods make the game easier, and they just give you additional ways to customize the game to your own liking. Some of these mods are so cool. A couple of my favorites. One of them, it's the always active X Factors. So your X Factor players are always red or activated or on fire, whatever you want to call it, so they can always use their abilities. He's got the Bullet Pass mod, which changes the trajectory of all the passes to have a little bit more zip on the ball. And another one that really stuck out to me was the increased crowd swell mod, which increases the intensity of crowd reactions to big plays to give you a much more immersive feel in the game. So shout out to SnowballPudi for his assortment of mods, because they bring so much life to the game. So for our next mod, we're going to be going back to Sabo, and we're going to be talking about his franchise mod. While the gameplay mod, in my opinion, is the most important mod for Madden 25 on PC, this is definitely the most impactful and arguably the most needed mod. This mod by Sabo touches the key elements of Madden's most popular game mode, which is franchise. Let's talk a little bit more about what this mod covers and go into detail. Just like the gameplay mod, there are a literal ton of patch notes, so I wanted to highlight the major, they're all important, but I wanted to highlight the ones that impacted me the most. The first item I wanted to cover is the sim stats. Sabo modded the entire system to match NFL 3-year averages, so now we'll have accurate stats during simulations. Let's talk about injuries. Sabo renamed injuries to match real life. So yes, you will see concussions. Sabo also added regression points for some injuries. So hey, maybe if you have an Achilles or something, God forbid, maybe you don't come back as athletic, right? I really like that touch. One change I like that Sabo makes is he updates the playbook names to match the offensive and defensive coordinators now. Obviously, unless it's a prominent coach that owns their own systems. Think of the Kyle Shanahans of the world, the Andy Reids, and things of that nature. And he even updates the scouts to match real life counterparts, so that's pretty cool. Heading to the next section, which is the draft, Sabo revamped the trade value and matched player overalls to it as well, which makes the AI value rookies more, right? Like, think about it. When's the last time you've seen a rookie in the NFL traded? Have you ever seen a rookie traded in the NFL? Somebody comment below. Let me know if that's ever happened, because I don't recall a rookie being traded. I don't know if you would count like the Eli Manning, Phil Rivers situation you know, because that wasn't like during the season, but yeah. So he's also improved the AI logic, so now there's more variety and more logic on who the CPU picks in the draft, specifically how the CPU drafts in the first 5 picks. So now the CPU will select more than quarterbacks. Also, the first 4 picks of the draft are now more heavily weighted to entice the CPU to draft to meet their team needs. The next section is roster management, where Sabo has tweaked the way teams evaluate their needs, and some specific examples that include increasing the overall minimum to make players be more interested in re-signing their own players. So maybe a team might have in the past, I don't know, like had a 71 overall player who had a superstar superstar trait, but he's only 71 overall. But now maybe the team will be interested in keeping him because they can see he has more value. That's kind of an example of that. It's also now more difficult for the user to re-sign their own players without going over market value, right? When guys do hit the market, especially if you haven't paid them early, guys are going to want, to be paid at the top of the market. CPU teams will now be more likely to release their older and overpaid players, and the AI now values players under 80 overall less, so now the users can't abuse them in trades. So yeah, I used to get some 79, maybe 78 overalls and try and trade them for a second round pick, so it doesn't look like that'll be happening anymore in our franchises. Now on to player management. The progression and regression is completely revamped, and we will talk more about that later, so stay tuned for that. Sabo has also changed the criteria for the franchise quarterback tag, so teams will now only consider their guy a franchise quarterback when applicable. He's got to be towards the top of the league, if he's going to be considered an actual franchise guy. Sabo has also changed the quarterback of the future tag to only last 3 years as opposed to the previous 5 years, to reflect the league's transition to being willing to more willing to potentially draft another quarterback if your guy isn't panning out. And we're seeing that in the NFL now. Teams, these guys come out and can't play. Look at your Anthony Richardsons of the world. Sorry, Colts fans, when it looks like your guy can't play, these teams are ready to move off. So very interesting there. Players can now receive a dev trait upgrade for breaking a season record or winning a certain award or something like that. So that's cool. Say you have a player that was started off, maybe like Sam Darnold, and he won MVP, and he's low rated. He can actually get a dev trait upgrade from that. So that's awesome. Guys, post video editing Shady here. I just wanted to pop back in and say, I think that feature right there is kind of underrated because there are so many classic franchise files that are around that can impact. So I wanted to kind of emphasize that. So for example, hypothetically, if you go back to that Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota draft, and say Marcus Mariota wins Rookie of the Year or something because, I don't know, God forbid, Jameis got hurt, Jameis's overall could drop and Mariota's overall could raise up. And so it just completely can change the course of history. And again, it just creates such a dynamic experience. I really just wanted to point out how awesome of a feature that is, making awards like Rookie of the Year and things of that nature impact dev traits and how a player is viewed across the league, because that's really exactly what happens. Sabo has also completely revamped the overall rating tiers for salary and bonus demand. So that impacts, pretty much based on the overall what type of contract these players are going to be asking for. And I know that has something to do with their position as well. So that's just a little bit of what the franchise mod covers. There's even more patch notes, but you can already see how this is almost a brand new game with these modded changes. So for our last mod of the day, we're going to talk about TBR's My Franchise Tool, or the MFT for short, or companion tool, companion app. It's got a lot of names. So this technically isn't a mod, but it's works hand in hand with Sabo's franchise mod. So shout out to Sabo and TBR for working together for this program. We're all looking forward to it every single year because it completely changes the way we navigate our Madden franchises. So What this program does is it runs alongside Madden, and it takes over several key features of your franchise. This program introduces a completely revamped trade system with a beautiful user interface for you to complete your trades. It shows the value of players and picks. I mean, again, I can't stress this enough how beautiful the user interface is of the MFT, because it just, it looks a lot better than the in-game menu. So I really like it and all the information that it gives, especially when you're making your trades. There are multiple sorting options, and the thing that stuck out to me the most was it's butter smooth, which makes it very enjoyable, a very enjoyable experience to navigate through the app. This app completely takes over and revamps your franchise's progression system. As stated earlier, this works hand in hand with the franchise mod. So in your Madden franchise, you actually completely turn all progression and regression off, put everything at 0, and this app will handle your progression. There are several new mechanics and scenarios that can take place that can cause your players to break out or even regress. And as Sabos stated, now even injury can play a hand in that. So the cool thing about the MFT is this tool also has several, tools, you can call it, tools inside the tool. So I wanted to take some time and go through some of some of the favorite ones that really stuck out to me. So one of the cooler ones was the weather generator. And what this does is it generates weather for every team for the entire week, for the entire season, every team for the entire season, every week. So this is based off of 10-year weather data from previous games played at that specific stadium in that specific week. So that's really cool to give us some dynamic weather. They also have a match scheme tool. This is one of my favorite ones, and what it does is it will automatically switch 3-4 defensive ends to be 4-3 defensive tackles, like say if they leave in free agency or something like that, and vice versa, right? It will take 4-3 defensive ends, and if they go to a team that runs a 3-4, they'll now be an outside linebacker, to be that edge rusher. Another of my favorite tools is the balance rosters tool, which will focus on rebalancing your team's roster. So I guess the example I give there is, say you have a team that has 1 left tackle and 5 right tackles. Instead of it trying to tell you to sign another left tackle, it will automatically move your players around to make sure your team needs are met. So it might take 2 of those right tackles and move them to left tackle. Another really cool tool that they have, it's called the trade block tool. And what this will do is it takes our players that have the veteran trade target tag and a low morale rating, and it puts them on the trade block to promote, some more movement for guys that, might want to look for a different environment, a different situation. I also want to speak on the trade and free agency lottery tools. They're 2 separate tools. There's a trade lottery and a free agency lottery. And what this does is it revamps how teams pursue both free agents and trades. It takes into consideration team needs, ratings, age, experience, just to govern how CPU controlled teams will work to improve their roster. So very powerful tools here that really open up and just give every single franchise that you run a different experience and a different feel. Oh, one thing that I did forget that I wanted to mention, which was really cool, is you can edit your depth chart through this tool. So my whole thought process was, say you draft like a Travis Hunter and wanted to put him in on both offense and defense, or maybe even slot him in a running back or something. You can do whatever you want with that and get real creative with it. But my favorite tool that I forgot to mention is there's one of the tools will go and check to see if your players are wearing a duplicate or retired jersey number, and it will change it. That is so awesome. I get sick watching players in the Eagles are handing out number 5, they're handing out 12, they're handing out 20, you know, for Donovan McNabb, Brian Dawkins, Randall Cunningham. I hate it. You know, God forbid you got people wearing 92 for Reggie White. You can't have that. So I really like the fact that that's part of this tool as well. All right, y'all, and that's going to do it for this week's Madden 25 modding showcase. Yeah, good to be back. It's been a while, but actually I can't get out of here without giving a special shout out to just everybody that was involved in getting Madden 25 to the state that it's in. Like, I know there's a lot of work that went in behind the scenes just to get mods even functioning. So even if you weren't featured directly in this video, whether you were part of, you know, navigating the anti-cheat or fixing some of the various crashing issues, you know, I appreciate you. The entire community appreciates you, because this game is in a phenomenal state right now, and we got the Madden modding community to thank for that. So other than that, I don't know what else I can say. If what we showed in this video is not enough to say like, hey, I need to be on PC playing Madden, nothing, like, you just don't like video game football. That's my conclusion, because as I showed, it's a lot of fire, but there's also a lot of fire coming up on the channel too. I've been going for a minute. I've missed a lot, so keep it locked to the channel for that. Make sure you like and subscribe on your way out. It's your boy Shady Mike. I'm signing out. Peace. Threes.